so let's talk about Starship Warrior. And trust me, you're going to want to watch this one all the way through, because this deck is something else. It's not just about winning games. It's about completely breaking your opponent's spirit until they have no choice but to concede. And the best part? The longer the game goes, the stronger this deck becomes. Now, if you're thinking, oh, another Control Warrior deck? You have no idea what's coming. This isn't just armor stacking or outlasting opponents. This deck has an infinite loop, a combo that never stops, and once it gets going, there's no way to lose. And that's why you need to stick around, because what happens later in this game, it's the reason this deck is so ridiculous. So at the start, it might seem slow, right? Just some armor gain, a bit of removal, nothing crazy yet. But that's exactly why this deck is so sneaky. By the time your opponent realizes what's happening, it's already too late. They think they have control, they think they're making progress, but in reality, they're just delaying the inevitable. Now, here's where things start getting really interesting, because the pieces of the infinite combo start coming together. And this is where most people lose their minds when they see what's happening. Remember Photographer Fizzle? The card that takes a snapshot of your hand? Well, what if I told you that with Zola the Gorgon and the Ceaseless Expanse, I can keep generating infinite resources? That's right. I never run out of cards, I never run out of armor, and I never hit fatigue. And just when you think, okay, this has to slow down at some point, nope, it just keeps going. And if you think I'm exaggerating, just wait till you see what happens in the late game. This isn't one of those decks where you get a lucky draw and suddenly win. This is a full-blown strategy that keeps getting stronger the longer the game goes. And trust me, when you see how my opponent reacts, when they realize I'm literally unkillable, you'll understand why this deck is so much fun. So stay tuned, because the end game of this match is something you won't want to miss. If you think you've seen long control games before, you haven't seen anything like this. All right, so let's talk about why I use E.T.C in this deck. Because honestly, he's the secret MVP that makes Starship Warrior so adaptable. This deck is already built for long games and infinite value. But what makes it truly unstoppable is the ability to shift the game plan based on the opponent. And that's exactly why E.T.C Band Manager is in here. He lets me adjust my strategy on the fly, meaning no matter what kind of deck I'm up against, I always have the perfect tool to counter it. For example, in this game, I actually used Bob the Bartender from my E.T.C to copy one of my opponent's Starship pieces, which is just hilarious. I literally took their own strategy and used it against them. That's the kind of flexibility that makes this deck so fun to play. But that's not the only way to use him. In other matchups, I can grab Kil'jaeden from E.T.C, which gives me card draw. Perfect for those grindy control games where I just need to outvalue my opponent over time. And then there's Boom Boss. This is the card I always keep in the back pocket. For those situations where my opponent is also running an infinite deck. Because let's be real, when you run into another deck that just refuses to die, sometimes you need that extra explosive win condition to force them out of the game. That's the whole point of E.T.C in this deck. He's not just a tech card, he's a game changer that lets me adjust my approach based on what's happening. Some games, I'm copying key pieces. Other games, I'm drawing endlessly. And when it's needed, I'm pulling out Boom Boss and going for the kill. It's what makes Starship Warrior so much more than just a standard control deck. It's a toolbox deck that can handle literally anything if you know how to play it right. So if you think this is just another stall deck, trust me, it's so much deeper than that. And the best part? Wait till you see what happens in this game, because the way I use E.T.C here, it's actually insane. Stay tuned, because this match is wild, and it shows exactly why this deck is so much fun to play. And of course, if you love creative decks, crazy combos, and breaking the meta, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments, how would you use E.T.C in this deck?
What next? Battle cruiser operational. Commencing bombardment. There's always room for dessert. Let the Badlands burn. All forms of life will be crushed. Planetary decimation. Operation. Action. Perfection. Insignificant. Shiny. Perfection. I have seen creation, and I will bring destruction. Let them find their feet first. Come on, piece of me, boy. I'm almost out of cards. The end of days is finally upon you! Battle cruiser operational. I have seen creation, and I will bring destruction. cards. Yippee-ki-yay! Fresh out a card. Bring it! Let's make it count. You got some hoops. Yippee-ki-yay! Commencing bombardment. Insignificant. Commencing bombardment. Commencing bombardment. Face to face.
And of course, if you enjoy crazy infinite decks, off-meta strategies, and completely frustrating your opponents, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, because I've got a lot more decks like this coming up.